पूर्वकनमस्काराः। प्रवेशकक्ष्यायां सर्वेषां स्वागतम्। नूतनवर्षस्य हार्दाः अनन्ताः शुभाशयाः। शोभकृत् नाम संवत्सरः अस्ति। Very happy New Year. That is, we all just celebrated Ugadi of the new year called Shobhakrit Nama Samvatsara. So there are 60 names of 60 Samvatsara or 60 years in Sanskrit which keep repeating. So this year is called Shobhakrit. So hope you had a very blessed Ugadi and a very happy New Year to all of you. Welcome to class 31 of Pravesha. And we are in lesson 2. Prathamam patham vayam sarve pathitavantah pathitavathyah cha adyatana kakshayam dvitiyam patham pathamaha. We completed first lesson and you all had exercises also. You had some revision exercises in the Saturday class. Those who could not attend that, the audio, video and the PPT will be available. So today we will go straight to lesson 2 and we will not be revising anything in lesson 1 today. Let us begin with Guru Vandanam and Shlokaha. I'll request all of you to please sit up straight and chant the Guru Vandanam and Mangala Shlokaha with me. Gurureva gatir gurumeva bhaje Gurunaiva sahasmi namo gurave Na gurov paramam shishurasmi guroho Matirasti gurau mama pahi guru Bravimi samskritam vacha Dhyayami samskritam hrida Purve sevancha kayena Vande samskrita mataram Yonaras samskrita vyom nihyalayam Ramate muda Samskritin chaiva samskaram Vindate natra samshayah. Swagatam once again. Welcome to all of you. So in the first lesson, we learnt many components, suktihi, bhashabhyasaha, subhashitam, etc. And there was one component which we did not discuss in the Sunday class, but which was discussed yesterday in the exercise class, and that component is Samskrita Vangmaya Parichayah. Samskrita Vangmaya Parichayah iti Prathama Pathe asti. In all the lessons you have the Samskrita Vangmaya Parichayah, it refers to introduction to Sanskrit literature. And you are introduced to various aspects of Sanskrit literature, right from the Vedas and Upanishads to the Mahabharatam, the Itihasas, Ramayana, Mahabharatam, a few works of great poets like Kalidasa and others. So this is in English in your textbooks, so you can read it in English and understand if you have an English textbook, but if you have the Kannada, whatever language version, the corresponding textbook, you will have that particular chapter in that language. So if you have a Kannada book, you will have that in Kannada. Those who have an English version will have it in English. So it is not in Sanskrit, it is for self-study. You will be able to read it on your own. However, we will just be briefly touching upon this in our classes here. And in yesterday's class about the Vedas, Sudha Bhagini has taught. So briefly, as you all know, we have 4 Vedas, Rig Veda, Sama Veda, Yajur Veda, Atharvana Veda, and also the Veda, the word Veda is derived from the root vid, which means to know. And it is our belief in Sanatana Dharma that the Vedas are apaurusheya, that is, they're not a product of human exercise or human effort. these Vedas were revealed to the sages in that divine state of meditation. So there are various Vedangas, that is the various parts of Vedas, and Yajurveda has two parts, Krishna Yajurveda, Shukla Yajurveda, and all these have been dealt with in yesterday's class. They are also there in your textbook. The reason I'm saying today is these will be asked in the exam. So you could get one-line questions to answer in English. For example, what are the four Vedas? What are the parts of each Veda? What are the Vedangas? Things like this. So these, or how many Vedas are there? So you should be prepared to answer questions like these in the exam. And Vedas also, on the Vedas, we seem to have a lot of questions being asked in the papers in the previous years. So please be thorough with that part of the textbook as well, Samskrita Vangmaya Parichayaha, a very brief introduction to Sanskrit literature, and you should be prepared to answer any questions based on that. So with that, let us move to lesson 2. We begin as usual with Suktihi, or wise saying. So in the first lesson we learned Arabdham Uttamajanaha na Parityajanti. So now in the second lesson, let us see what Suktihi we learn. Kshanashaha Kanashashchaiva Vidyamartham cha Sadhayet. Kshanashaha Kanashashchaiva Vidyamartham cha Sadhayet. Sarve pathantu Shrutva ekavaram punah pathantu. Kshanashaha Kanashashchaiva Vidyamartham cha Sadhayet. Now this is a part of a Subhashitam. So like I was telling you, many of these wise sayings are lines from shlokas. This what is given in the textbook in the second lesson is only this much. Kshanashaha kanashashchaiva vidyamartham cha sadhayet. Tatra subhashitaha kaha ityukte idanim pashyamaha. Kshanashaha kanashashchaiva vidyamartham cha sadhayet. Kshanathyage kuto vidya kanatyage kuto dhanam. Punah ekavaram vadami sarve shrunvantu. Kshanashaha kanashashchaiva vidyamartham cha sadhayet. Kshanathyage kuto vidya kanatyage kuto dhanam. Tatra kshane nashte kuto vidya ityapi vidyate. In some places, the second line is shown as kshane nashte kuto vidya kane nashte kuto dhanam. Both versions are correct. I chose this version. So the thing is, if you understand the verse, wherever we can point out when we know the verse, when we tell you, you can understand the line according to the context. So let us see the meaning. Kshanashaha kanashaha cha eva vidyam artham cha sadhayet. Ityukte kim atra padavibhagaha asti. Kshanashaha, by every second. Kshana means second or moment. You know, even in some other languages, in Indian languages, kshana means second. Kshanashaha, second by second or by every second. Kanashaha, by every grain or grain by grain. So the Anvaya or the prose order of this particular line would be Kshanashaha Vidyam cha sadhayet Kanashaha Artham cha sadhayet. Sadhayet is only once. So Kshanashaha Vidyam cha Kanashaha Artham chaiva sadhayet, which means Kshanashaha, by every second, Vidyam, knowledge, sadhayet, should be achieved. Kanashaha, by every grain, Artham, wealth, should be achieved. So cha means and, eva means only. Now what this means is, when you want to gain knowledge, every second is important. So every second you should be pursuing knowledge. That pursuit, when you want to achieve something, when you want to become knowledgeable, you cannot let go of even 1 second. You cannot waste even 1 second. Time is so precious. So kshanashaha, second by second, you have to acquire knowledge. And kanashaha, grain by grain or bit by bit, you have to acquire wealth. This means that even if you want to, I mean, in our Sanatana Dharma, we have the Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, right? So Dharma, we all know, there is no translation for the word Dharma in English. Artha is wealth. So wealth acquired through the right means and by doing your duty wholeheartedly and without any greed and without aspiring for the wealth of others or without following any other means of achieving wealth, but through the path of dharma. So even in Arthashastra, like Kautilya says, Arthakamau dharma moolau, meaning dharma is the moola, dharma is the basis for attaining artha and kama. So the Purusharthas in Sanatana Dharma, they never said don't acquire wealth or don't have desires. Your desires, both kama and artha, wealth, have to be acquired, however, in accordance with dharma, in the righteous way only. That is what even one of the vakyas we learn, Isha vasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjithaha maghataha kasyasvid dhanam. The reason I'm saying this is, it means Isha vasyam idam sarvam, this entirety is filled by Isha or Ishvara or the Supreme Brahman. Everything, every little thing. Yat kincha jagatyam jagat. So, in how do we live in this world? Maghataha kasyasvid dhanam. Do not aspire for the wealth of others. So why am I telling all this? Because this Subhashitam tells us, Kanashaha artham sadhayet. So grain by grain, we should gain wealth. So then the question arises, why is the Subhashitam telling us about wealth? So this is because there is a need for wealth also, artham also. It is one of the Purusharthas, but we have to acquire that through the path of dharma. So this is just, a bit of explanation, but in the exam, you can just know this much. Kshanashaha kanashashchaiva vidyamarthancha sadhayet. So it means knowledge should be earned moment by moment or every moment without wasting a single moment. And wealth should be earned bit by bit. So we should not, which also means we should not wastefully spend or, waste even a small amount of wealth. And the second line of this shloka, which is not there in the book, but for context I'm telling you, which we learned, Kshanathyage kuto vidya, kanatyage kuto dhanam. This means Kshanathyage, by sacrificing. Sacrificing here means by wasting. Or like I said, the other version of the second line is Kshane nashte. When you lose 1 second, when you waste even a small amount of time, how can you, kuto vidya, kutaha vidya, from where will you earn knowledge, or from where will you learn, even if you waste a few minutes or a few moments or even 1 moment? Kanatyage or kane nashte, by wasting even a small amount, how will you acquire wealth? And this Subhashitam is a very famous one. So you can know just the meaning of the first line for exam purposes. But for context, we learned the second line also. Okay, so I hope the Subhashitam is clear. Okay, maybe I will make one of you read the Subhashitam and then we will move to the next part. Just maybe one of you we will ask. Sanath ji, please unmute.
I'm Lakshmi. I have not
Lakshmi.
changed the name.
Lakshmi Bhagini. Okay, no problem.
Yes. I will read it.
Yes.
Kshanashaha kanashaschaiva vidyamartam cha sadhet kshanathyage kuto vidya kanatyage kuto dhanam.
Uttamam Bhagini, Dhanyavadaha. There was slight disturbance somewhere. The Mahapranas, all of you should Remember to chant clearly and to read clearly whenever you are reading any Sanskrit text. And the differentiation between sh and sh, kshana shaha. Ksha, we know, is a combination of k and sha. And this is sha, kshana shaha. So that let us all be clear while reading. Now we will move to the next component, bhasha bhyasaha, language exercise. प्रथमे पाठे वयं वर्तमानकालं ज्ञातवन्तः तथा वर्तमानकाले एकवचनस्य विषये एकवचनं तथा बहुवचनं तत्र प्रथमपुरुषस्य विषये पठितवन्तः पठितवत्यः च. So in the first lesson we learnt about present tense, prathama purusha, in English what we call the third person, that is he, she, it. So we learned how to use that. Saha pathati, saha gayati, saha likhati, Ramaha gacchati, Sita nrityati. These are the sentences we learned. We also learned the bahuvachanam forms, so the plural forms. Te dhavanti, taha gayanti, balakaha hasanti, balikaha likhanti, chatraha pathanti, etc. In the second lesson, we are going to continue with vartamanakalaha, present tense. अत्र वयं मध्यमपुरुषं पश्यामः कथं भवति इति. मध्यमपुरुषः इत्युक्ते आङ्ग्लभाषायां सेकेंड पर्सन इति वदामः खलु. आङ्ग्लभाषायां सेकेंड पर्सन इत्युक्ते you both, you all. तत्र आङ्ग्लभाषायां द्विवचनं नास्ति, केवलं एकवचनं बहुवचनं स्तः. परं संस्कृतभाषायां द्विवचनम् अपि अस्ति, एकवचनं द्विवचनं बहुवचनम्. इदानीं मध्यमपुरुषस्य विषये पठामः. So second person in English, what we call madhyamapurusha in Sanskrit is the second person in English. So let us learn the singular forms of that first. Tvam pathasi, you read. Sarve savadhanataya shrinvantu tatha vadantu, uchchaihi vadantu. So tatra pathya pustake, in your textbook, oral exercises iti asti. So you have a component in your textbook called oral exercise. They want you to read the sentences given there to become familiar. Shravanena tatra samyak jnayate. So by listening, you will get familiar. So that is the way to learn a language. Those who are learning for the first time especially, it won't suffice if you just look at the slides or the textbook and just mentally read Tvam Pathasi. You should read it aloud and it should register clearly how the second person we are using. Tvam Pathasi, you read. Tvam Namasi, you salute. Tatra Pathasi, atra pashyantu. Tatra hrasvaha asti. Pathasi. Pathasi itina. Pathasi. It is short letter. We should pronounce and write it accurately. Tvam pathasi. Tvam namasi. Tvam vadasi. You speak or you tell. Tvam pashyasi. You see. Tvam pibasi. You drink. Tvam pritchasi. You ask. Tvam dhavasi, you run. Tvam tishthasi, you stand. Tvam atasi, you roam. Tvam kridasi, you play. Tvam khadasi, you eat. So here we should be very, very clear about one thing. Atra vartamana kalaha ityukte लट्लकारः. लट्लकारः इत्युक्ते simple present tense इति वदामः खलु आङ्ग्लभाषायाम्. अत्र simple present tense अस्ति. त्वं धावसि. It means you run. It is not an order or a command. It is, in English there is no difference. In English, you run is also simple present to indicate the action in the present. And you run is also the same verb form when we ask someone to run, right? You run, you do this, you do that, you read. When we tell a student, you read, please read, or please dance, please wake up. You know, these things are orders or commands or requests in English. But in Sanskrit, for that, we have a separate lakara called lot lakaraha. Lot lakaram api vayam pashyamaha. Asyam kakshayam eva, in Pravesha itself, we will see lot lakara also. But the reason I'm stressing this is we should be very careful that here what we are learning is simple present. It is not imperative. It is not a command or a request or a pleading. There, for example, tvam dhava iti vadamaschet, that becomes a command or a request or an order. Tvam dhava, tatra dhava iti padam, kriyapadam, lot lakare asti. Lot lakaraha iti anyaha lakaraha. That is a different tense for command or order or request. Here what we are saying is simple present. And I need to differentiate, clarify this here, because in English, tvam dhava is also you run, that is lot lakara or a request or a command. Tvam dhavasi, simple present, is also you run in English. But in Sanskrit, we have a different tense for it. So in our heads, we should be clear. So atra tvam prichasi, you ask. It is just indicating that that person is in that action. And another distinction is, this is not present continuous or present participle tense. It is not you are asking or you are running or you are standing. That is a different tense. Even in English, it's a different tense, the continuous tense. And in Sanskrit also, we have a different way to denote that present continuous tense. This is simple present. So we need to be very, very clear about the tenses and the lakaras. Okay, I hope there are no doubts and we are very clear that this is simple present. Let us move on. Tvam tishtasi, you stand. Tvam atasi, you roam. Tvam kridasi, you play. Tvam khadasi, you eat. Tvam gayasi, you sing. Tvam ichhasi, you wish. Tvam likhasi, you write. Tvam nayasi, you lead or take. So contextually, we should understand this. In some books, nayasi will be given, the meaning will be given as leading. But nayasi is also very commonly used in the sense of take, you take. Tvam pustakam nayasi, you take the book in that sense. You lead in the sense it is when a person is leading others, that kind of a meaning. So tvam nayasi, you see the meaning of the verb contextually. Tvam patasi, you fall. And for verbs like nayasi, where contextually you could have more than one meaning, please, if you're taking the exam, please stick to what is given in the textbook, because they will also go by what is given in the textbook. For your knowledge, you can know that some verbs can have multiple meanings contextually, but for examination purposes, please write what is given as per the textbook. Idanim madhyama purushe bahuvachanam pashyamaha, tatra dvivachanam api asti. Dvivachanasya vishaye asmin pathe nasti. We all have learned dvivachanam when we did the introduction to verbs. So there in the introductory chapters, those who are new to the class, please go back to the introductory lessons before we started with lesson 1. We have done a detailed overview of verbs in all the 3 vachanas, ekavachanam, dvivachanam, bahuvachanam. Please go through these lessons. We will not be able to repeat it again here. And it is very important to know dvivachanam also in Sanskrit. Idanim bahuvachanam pashyamaha. Madhyama purushe eva. Second person, plural. Yam pathatha. Atra pashyantu. Tha ityapi mahapranaha. Tha ityapi mahapranaha. Tathaiva vaktavyam. Yam pathatha. So that mahaprana should be heard very clearly. You all read. Atra all iti kimartham asti ityukte tatra Angla bhashayam ekavachane api yu ityeva bhavati, dvivachane api yu ityeva bhavati. Bahuvachane api you ityeva bhavati. In English, you is used commonly for singular, dual, and plural. But in Sanskrit, we have different words. Tvam is you for one person. Yuvam is you for two people. Yuyam is you for many people. You all. To differentiate that, I have put this all in brackets. Yuyam pathatha. You all read. Yuyam namatha. You all salute. Yuyatha. You all speak. Yuyam pashyatha. You all see. Yuyam pibatha. You all drink. Yuyam pritchatha. You all ask. Yuyam dhavatha. You all run. Yuyam tishtatha. You all stand. Yuyam atha. You all roam. Yuyam kridatha. You all play. Yuyam khadatha. You all eat. Yuyam gayatha. You all sing. Yuyam agachatha. You all come. Yuyam likhatha. You all write. Yuyam nayatha. You all lead or take. Yuyam patatha. You all fall. Bhavatu. Atra, we saw how it is gayasi, tvam gayasi, yuyam gayatha. Ekavachane, bahuvachane katham bhavati iti vayam drishtavantaha, drishtavatyaha cha. Tatra dvivachane katham bhavati gayasi, gayathaha, gayatha. Dvivachane gayathaha iti bhavati. Gayathaha, dhavathaha, likhathaha, nayathaha, kridathaha, evam. Udaharanartham, tvam pashyasi, yuvam pashyathaha, yuyam pashyatha. Just an example I gave you of Dvivachanam. You can go to the introductory classes and see how Dvivachanam works. Okay, now we move to Uttama Purushaha. Idanim kim patitavantaha Madhyama Purushaha, second person, which is only used with tvam, yuvam, yuyam, depending on the number, you. Uttama Purushaha ityukte Angla Bhashayam first person iti vadamah khalu. First person, Angla Bhashayam, first person iti katham vadamaha, we say for I, we both, we all. For that we say first person in English. Uttama Purushaha iti Samskrita Bhashayam vadamaha. Idanim katham bhavati Uttama Purushe kriyapadam iti pashyamaha. Aham pathami, I read. Aham namami, I salute. Aham vadami, I speak. Aham pashyami, I see. Aham pibami, I drink. Sorry. Aham khadami, I eat. Aham gayami, I sing. Aham ichhami, I wish. Aham likhami, I write. Aham nayami, I lead or I take. Aham patami, I fall. So one clue which we give especially small young children who are learning for the first time is, if they are familiar with English, you remember me, me in English. It's just a cue. It's not, I mean, if once you're familiar, you don't need it. So instead of, to avoid making mistakes, so we should not say aham khadati or aham khadasi. That would be wrong. We should only say aham khadami. Tvam khadasi, saha khadati. So according to the Purusha, we should know what to use. So this me, me in English refers to yourself. I mean, to you know what me, me means. So remember that, and also whenever you're using aham, I, know that the verb should end with me. This is a very rough cue, which for some children, it works out easily. I mean, they remember that, so that they always say khadami, gayami, chami. They never say khadati with aham. So now we should know very clearly prathama purushaha, madhyama purushaha, uttama purushaha. Tatra kriyapadani katham bhavanti iti asmabhihi jnatavyam. We should be very clear as to how the verbs are in the prathama purusha, madhyama purusha and uttama purusha. In this lesson, we learnt about madhyama purusha and uttama purusha. So now we will see Kshamyatam uttama purushe bahuvachana rupani pashyamaha idani. Vayam pathamaha. Aham pathami. Vayam pathamaha. Tatra dvivachane katham bhavati. Aham avam vayam khalu. Avam dvivachane bhavati. Pathami pathavah. Avam pathavah. Vayam pathamaha. Aham pathami. Avam pathavah. Vayam pathamaha. So that is how we differentiate in ekavachanam, dvivachanam, bahuvachanam in uttama purusha while referring to the first person in English. Kshamyatam. Vayam namamaha. We salute. Vayam vadamaha. We speak. Vayam pashyamaha. We see. Vayam pibamaha. We drink. Vayam pruchamaha. We ask. Vayam dhavamaha. We run. Vayam ichhamaha. We wish. Vayam tishtamaha. We stand. Vayam atamaha. We roam. Vayam kridamaha. We play. Vayam khadamaha. We eat. Vayam gayamaha. We sing. Vayam agacchamaha. We come. Vayam gacchamaha. We go. Vayam agacchamaha. We come. Vayam likhamaha. We write. Vayam nayamaha. We lead or take. Vayam patamaha. We fall. Idanim dakarantau trilingakau asmad yushmad shabdau. We have already learnt this. So why are we learning this now again? Because we learnt the verbs today with madhyama purusha. That is tvam, yuvam, yuyam. That is the second person. And we learnt verb forms with uttama purusha. That is aham, avam, vayam, or the first person. So let us see how the noun is, corresponding noun. Yushmad shabdaha, tvam, yuvam, yuyam, tvam, yuvam, yuyam, you both, you all. Tvam is you, yuvam is you both, yuyam is you all. Asmad shabdaha, aham, avam, vayam, aham, avam, vayam, aham, I, avam, we both, vayam, we all. Now we all have already learned this word yushmad and this word asmad. They are what we call pratipadikam, or the root form of the noun. Now let us see yushmad and asmad, with corresponding verbs. Yushmad shabdaha, tvam pathasi, yuvam pathatah, yuyam pathatha. So you read, you both read, you all read. Tvam pathasi, yuvam pathatah, yuyam pathatha. Tatra asmad shabde katham bhavati. Aham pathami, avam pathavah, vayam pathamaha. Aham pathami, I read. Avam pathavah, we both read. Vayam pathamaha, we all read. Atra pashyantu, there is a table given to you. Very, very important for us to internalize this table at this stage. Ekavaram Shrinvantu. Pat dhatuhu. The dhatu or the root form is pat. Right? This is the dhatu, the root of the verb. Vartamana kalaha lat lakaraha iti vadamaha. Lat lakara is, like I said, refers to simple present. And you have to learn 4 lakaraha in Pravesha level. So let us start with the simple present. Lat lakaraha. Pat dhatuhu. Lat lakaraha. Parasmai padam. There are 2 kinds of verbs, parasmai padam, atmane padam, and some are ubhaya. They can be parasmai and atmane padam. We'll come to that a bit later. So this is example for parasmai padam. Pathati, pathatah, pathanti, pathasi, pathatah, pathatha, pathami, pathavah, pathamaha. Atra mahapranaha santi kalu samyak Vaktavyani, Tani Mahaprانani, Atra Pashyamaha. So please be very careful while reading out or chanting the Mahapranas. Pathati, Pathatah, Pathanti, Pathasi, Pathatah, Pathatha, Pathami, Pathavah, Pathamaha. So here there are 2 letters. One is Mahaprana, one is Alpaprana next to each other. We should be very careful not to interchange. So maybe I'll ask one of you to just read this aloud. Priyadarshini Bhagini, Kripaya vadatu.
Namaste. Namaste Bhagini.
Namaste.
Pat dhatoho lat lakara parasmai padarupani. Pathati, pathatah, pathanti, pathasi, pathatah, pathatha, pathami, pathavah, pathamaha.
Uttamam Bhagini. Dhanyavadaha. Just one small tip for all of you, just one small observation and tip for everyone. When we have Mahapranas, we should be careful to only chant it as a Mahaprana and not, there is no Samyuktakshara there. For example, Pathatah, we should not chant it as Pathatah. We should not stress before the tha, before there is no Samyuktaksharam, there's no second tha there. Pathatah, Pathatha. It should be clearly just that letter. So in order to tell the Mahaprana, we should not add a small letter next to it. It happens very frequently even in shlokas. We should be very careful about that. So I hope this is clear. I wish more of you could read, but just that we have so much to cover. So let us see. We will complete today's, whatever I have planned. Hopefully we will complete. If there is time, we will come back and more of you can read this. Please memorize this table. You just have, we are doing bit by bit in each class. In 1 hour, we don't cover too much every week, right? And Saturday is just a revision. So whatever we do in 1 hour, please try to learn by next week so that you don't have a huge backlog, especially those who want to take the exam and who want to, master this Pravesha in this period of time without prolonging it too much. So please, I will read this once again, listen to it and memorize this table. Pat dhatuhu lat lakaraha parasmai padam pathati pathatah pathanti pathasi pathatah pathatha pathami pathavah pathamaha. We have already learnt the usage of these, right, in the previous portion of this class and in lesson 1. Now let us see along with the sentences. Balakaha pathati. The boy reads. Balakau pathatah. 2 boys read. Balakaha pathanti. Boys read. Many boys. Balakaha. Madhyama purushaha. Tvam pathasi. You read. Yuvam pathatah. You both read. Yuyam pathatha. You all read. Uttama purushaha. Aham pathami. I read. Avam patavaha, we both read. Vayam pathamaha, we all read. Punah punaha pathantu, punah punaha shrinvantu. Keep listening and keep reading, and then you can practice writing, so that you should become so thorough that you should not have a doubt. Is it tvam pathasi or is it tvam pathami? What is it? We should not have a doubt while using it. It should become your second nature. It should just, when automatically when you're speaking, we should say aham pathami, tvam pathasi, saha pathati. And it will come. It is definitely going to come. It's just that initially we need practice, abhyasa, and dedicated practice consistently. So doing like many hours of memorization one day and suddenly leaving it for many days, coming back, again, you will have to rework on that, like revise. So consistency is important. Every day, please set aside some time and listen and say aloud and write. And that would help you to become perfect. And this, you should know this thoroughly by Pravesha level. Otherwise, while moving to, the next levels and learning more Sanskrit, it would become tedious to come back and check what is the right form every time. We cannot move forward unless these building blocks are strong, unless this foundation is strong. So at this level, we should become thorough with this. Anytime you are asked, you should know thoroughly what it is. Tvam pathasi, aham pathami, saha pathati, and in all the vachanas as well. So memorize this table, and then this table gives you the usage of the verbs along with the nouns. Etadapi asmabhihi purvameva pathitam. We have already learnt this. Namapadam, balakaha, balakau, balakaha. So the prathama purusha form is used with third person. Just an example is balaka. Madhyama purusha, tvam, yuvam, yuyam, you, both, you all. Uttama purusha, aham, avam, vayam. I, we, both, we all. So one way to remember is, Madhyama Purusha is always used for second person in English. You, both, you all. Uttama Purusha, or the first person, what we call in English, is used for I, we, both, we all. Apart from this, for any other nouns, Prathama Purusha is used. So Tvam, Yuvam, Yuyam only for Madhyama Purusha, Aham, Avam, Vayam only for Uttama Purusha. Apart from this, everything else Prathama Purusha. All third persons would be Prathama Purusha. Next, we come to Samyuktaksharani, which is a part of the second lesson here. But those who are attending continuously know that we have spent a lot of time in the introductory lessons on Samyuktaksharani, conjunct consonants, the types, the way to represent them, examples, etc. So today I am going to quickly go through those slides again. It is also given in your textbook, the various types. Like I said, the types are just only to show the various ways, in which Samyuktaksharani are represented. That is the only purpose of the groups. So Samyuktaksharam, as we know, is a conjunct consonant, or a Vyanjanam combining with the Vyanjanam, a consonant combining with the consonant. And example, Thya, Satyam, T plus U plus A, Shna, Krishnaha, Shiv plus N plus Aha. The one highlighted in red, that letter is a conjunct consonant or a Samyuktaksharam. We have learnt various types. I'm just going to read out the words and go. We all have revised this multiple times, so please go back to those lessons and you can get a more detailed overview of it. Sankhya, Pucham. So for those who are attending the first time, the constituent letters are shown in the first table, the first column. The resultant Samyuktaksharam is shown, or the conjunct consonant is shown in the second column. And the example, the word, is shown in the third column. I will just read the words. You can go through. Sankhya, Pucham, Jyotihi, Dhyanam, Vandana, Sapta, Amba, Shyenaha, Pustakam, Vyagraha. The second kind of representing of Samyuktaksharani. Kukkuraha, Sayankalaha. In this, you see one aksharam is sitting below the other one in the resultant Samyuktaksharam. In the previous, it was next to it. Sankhya, the line of K is disappearing and K is merging with Y in the first example. Similarly, in the rest. We'll see the second type. Kukkuraha, Sayankalaha, Angam, Attaha, Khadgaha, Agnihi, Panjaram, Annam, Mallaha, Uchchaha. The third type, where in this, it is neither exactly next to it nor exactly on top, but the, if you see, is in an angular portion is indicated below the. We see some types like this. Vriddhaha, Dve, Udbhataha, Padmam, Purvanhaha, Madhyanhaha, Jihva, Brahma, Hyaha, Prahladaha. Here are some examples. Madhyanhaha, Brahma, Purvanhaha. We have learnt in detail. They are exceptions to the rule. So we don't pronounce as it is written. We pronounce Brahma, not Brahma. And we also discussed the reasons for this. So you can go to those slides and lessons and look up the videos. A special Samyuktaksharam is Repha or Ra. So when Repha combines with any other letter, it is shown as that arc on top, like Arkaha example. This line on top shows Repha. But if it is the other way around, Aksharam combining with Repha, it is shown as a stroke below. So these are some examples. And also sometimes it is shown as that inverted V below the letter. We'll see examples. Okay, so I have not given you examples of Repha here, but it is there in the previous lessons. And you can also look up the textbook, which has given you various Prabhedaha. So for example, Arkaha. So how you write Arkaha, and this is to represent Repha. So it is written on top here. And when you want to write a word like Prati, Pa plus, for example, Partaya Pratibodhitam, right? In that Prati, see how Repha is represented. Ushtraha, that is another example. Ushtraha, see how Repha is represented here. It is represented as this inverted V sort of below the word. These are the various types of representing Rakara or Repha. Now there is another way which you know, where a letter is two letters combined to give us a completely new looking letter, like Ksha. Ksha is always written only like this, and it has its own Gunitakshara Saranihi, meaning it has its own Ksha, Ksha, Kshi, Kshi, Kshu, Kshu, similarly till Kshaha. The other examples in this, where you have a completely new kind of letter coming, are Kta, Ksha, Nya, Ta, T plus Ta. Tra, Da, Dya, Shra, Shva, Shcha. We have a detailed discussion on all the constituent letters, etc. in the previous lessons on Samyuktaksharani. Some Samyuktaksharani have more than one way. You can represent in both ways correctly. Some examples on the screen. Kukkutaha, Shaktihi, Magnaha, both ways of writing are correct. Vighnaha, Uchchaihi, Kajjalam, Chanchalaha, Anjaneyaha, Prapullaha, Ashnati, Ashcharyam, Vishwam. Okay, so this is about Samyuktaksharani. Now we next move to Anuswaraha. This also we have learnt. Please refer to the first lesson on Swaraha and Ayogavahaha, where we have learned the 4 types of Ayogavahaha, and Anuswaraha is one of them. So the rule with reference to representing Anuswara is nothing but this dot on top, which you see. Phalam. There the dot on top is called Anuswara. The rule is whenever the Anuswara is followed by a Vyanjanam, we represent it as the dot on top. However, if it is followed by a Swara, for example, here, Phalam word is followed by A, which is a Swara. The starting letter is a Swara. Then we put this M with the Halanta. However, if it is a Vyanjanam, like here, it is Khadati, then we put an Anuswara. This also we have learnt before. More examples, Aham Gachami, Aham Agachami. So please note this, focus on this, the dot here and the Mukara and what is following. Here again it's a dot on top and here it is M because it's followed by Agachami. So that is the way we represent Anuswara. Tvam Pibasi, Tvam Ichhasi. So see the difference here. Again, P is a Vyanjanam. Here E is a Swara. Therefore, M plus Halanta. Another rule is whenever Anuswara is at the end of a sentence, then again it is represented as M and Halanta. End of a sentence or a line. Anuswara followed by a Vyanjanam is represented as a dot on top. For Anuswara followed by a Swara is represented as M, that is with the Halanta. Anuswara at the end of a sentence is also represented as M or that is with a Halanta. Now let us learn some Sankhyaha, numbers. Anuswara, Samyuktaksharani, we went a bit fast because it's very repetitive. We have done it, I think, twice, and also you've had revision sessions. So we will not be doing it again in detail. This is there in the second lesson of your textbook as well. Sankhyaha, numbers. Ekam, Dve, Trini, Chatvari, Pancha, Shat, Sapta, Ashta, Nava, Dasha. So please also note the representation of the numbers here in the second column. We should learn that as well. I will just read it aloud once. Ekam, Dve, Trini, Chatvari, Pancha, Shat, Sapta, Ashta, Nava, Dasha. Now, we have others also, Ekadasha, Dvadasha, Trayodasha, but we will just go by what is given in the book. Dasha 10, Vimshatihi 20, Trimshat 30, Chatvarimshat 40, Panchashat 50, Shashtihi 60, Saptatihi 70, Ashitihi 80, Navatihi 90, Shatam 100. 1000 Sahasram, 1 lakh Laksham, 1 crore Kotihi. So just know these numbers and memorize them. Now we move to Vyavaharika Shabdaha, Vrittikaraha. We learnt even in the first lesson certain words which we use on a daily basis, conversational words. And in this lesson, the focus is occupations or professions. Artist, Chitrakaraha, Chitrakari. That is, you all know by now. It is in Chitrakaraha is Pullinga, Chitrakari is Strilinga. So see how you know, please note how the word is changing from Pullinga to Strilinga. There are various ways. Sometimes it could just be E-kara added. Sometimes it could be just A-kara added. So we will see how it is. Chitrakaraha, Chitrakari. Porter, Bharavahaha, Bharavahi. Cobbler, Charmakaraha, Charmakari. Worker, Karmakara, Karmakaraha, Kshamyatam, Karmakari. Karmakaraha, Karmakari. Dancer, Nartakaha, Nartaki. More words. Soldier, Sainikaha, Sainiki. Scribe, Lipikaraha, Lipikari. Actor, Nataha, Nati. Fisherman, Dhivaraha, Dhivari. Goldsmith, Suvarnakaraha, Suvarnakari. Shopkeeper, Apanikaha, Apanika. See how it changed. It is Apanika here. A is being added instead of the aha at the end. Vikrayikaha, Vikrayika. That is seller. Buyer, Kreyikaha, Kreyika. Cowherd, Gopalakaha, Gopalika. Servant, Sevakaha, Sevika. So note how for Gopalakaha, it is not Gopalaka, it is Gopalika. Ika is being substituted. Similarly, Sevakaha, Sevika, not Sevaka, Sevika. Next, teacher. Adhyapakaha, Adhyapika. Driver. Chalakaha, Chalika. Writer. Lekhakaha, Lekhika. Farmer. Krishakaha, Krishika. Manager. Prabandhakaha, Prabandhika. We have more words. Director. Nirdeshakaha, Nirdeshika. Cook. Pachakaha, Pachika. Police. Arakshakaha, Arakshika. Arakshakaha, anyone who protects security, police, like that. Priest. Archakaha, Archika. Hunter. Vyadhaha, Vyadha. Here only A again. Vyadhaha, Vyadha. Doctor. Vaidyaha, Vaidya. Okay. So please go through these words. You can keep listening to the audio also, and you will become more familiar with the words. So maybe we can just complete with Prahelika. That is a riddle, like we also learned in the first lesson. I will read it aloud. Kimichhati narah kashyam bhupanam korane hitah ko vandyas sarvadevanam diyatamekamutaram. Punah ekavaram vadami. Kimichhati narah kashyam bhupanam korane hitah ko vandyas sarvadevanam diyatamekamutaram. Let us split the words. Kim ichhati naraha kashyam, or kashyam naraha kim ichhati. Kashyam, in Kashi. Naraha, a person. Kim ichhati, what does a person wish for in Kashi, or what does a person desire in Kashi? This is a riddle, like I told you. You can guess the answers. Bhupanam kaha rane hitaha. Bhupanam, for the kings. Rane, in the battlefield. What is desirable? What does a king wish for? Or what is desirable for a king in a battle? Sarvadevanam kaha vandyaha. Who is worshipped by all gods, or who is prostrated by all gods? Ekamuttaram diyatam. Give me one answer, or one answer may be provided. A single answer, a single word, which will give you the solution to all these questions. What does a person desire for in Kashi? And Bhupanam korane hitaha. What does a king wish for in battle, or what is desirable for kings in battle? Who is worshipped or prostrated by all gods? For all these three, there is one word as the answer. The solution is a person always. I'm just seeing if I've got any answer. Yes, Tejas Ji, that's the correct answer. Okay. So Naraha Kashyam Kim Ichhati. So there is a belief that whoever breathes their last in Kashi will not have a rebirth. They will attain mukti, right? Salvation. So when a person goes to Kashi, there is in Sanatana Dharma, people wish for attaining their last or breathing their last in Kashi. So Mrityum Ichhati. So Mrityum, death. So you can see the meaning on the screen. So Mrityum is the answer for the first question. Kim Ichhati Naraha Kashyam. Bhupanam ko ranehitaha. So what does a king wish for, or what do kings desire in a battle? Jaya, right? Victory. So they desire victory in a battle, Jayaha. And who is worshipped by all gods? Shiva. Mrityunjaya is one of the names of Bhagavan Shiva. Therefore, the solution to the riddle in a single word is Mrityunjayaha. How is it Mrityunjayaha? Kim ichchati naraha kashyam? The answer is Mrityum, because a person desires death in Kashi. Bhupanam ko ranehitaha, what is desirable for kings in a battle? Answer is Jaya, victory. Combining both Mrityum and Jaya, we get Mrityunjaya, which is the answer for the third question. Sarvadevanam kahavandyaha, who is worshipped by all gods? Mrityunjaya or Shiva. Beautiful riddle. So like this, you have many riddles in Sanskrit. It's not something which is modern and only in English. And we have a course in Vyoma exclusively for riddles. I think it was taken by Dr. Shobha Vasuki Mahodaya. So you can sign up for the course just out of your interest. Very interesting riddles are combined by her from various sources, and she has given us this course. She has structured many beautiful courses like this, compiling subhashitas, riddles, etc. Currently, she's also teaching a course on Pratima Natakam of Bhasa, the great poet Bhasa. I think it just began the course. You have many courses to explore. So I hope you all liked this riddle. We will revise it once in the next class. So I will just see if there are any questions. If there are any unanswered questions, you can always send me an email. Parabhagini, pronunciation of shlokas. We have exclusive courses which deal with pronunciation tips and pronunciation rules. There is a specific course for pronunciation of Gita shlokas. That is the first course I taught in Vyoma. It is a completed course, but you can always sign up for free. You please log into Sanskrit from Home and search for Learn to Chant Bhagavad Gita, and you can access all the and the PPTs. It is also, the videos are also available on YouTube on a playlist. Nari Ji, I don't get exactly what you're saying. Could you please send me an email with it? The Anuswara rules are clear. I don't know what you're referring to here. When a verb starts with a vowel. Yes, that is true. When if Anuswara is followed by a vowel, then we write with a stroke and not with a dot on top. The meanings of all the words of Samyuktaksharani we have dealt with in the previous classes. Please go to that particular lesson. If we go on revising, we will not be able to complete. Name of the riddles course, Santana Gopalanji, I don't recollect the exact name, but what you could do is search for Dr. Shobha Vasuki, the teacher's name, SHOBHA Shobha Vasuki, on Sanskrit from Home, and you will get all the courses offered by her. So in that you will be able to find it. So let us conclude with Shanti Mantraha as usual. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarvebhyah dhanyavadaha. Thank you very much for attending. Agami Ravivasare Punarmilamaha. We will meet next Sunday. And look out for the Abhyasa classes as well on Saturdays. Dhanyavadaha. Ram Ram Ram.